I graduated college exactly 4 years ago today, and I'm going to take this time to walk through exact details of every single thing that I've done professionally since graduating college. So I graduated college December 8th, 2018. I graduated a semester early and took a semester off. During that semester off, I was a resident advisor full time at my university. I worked out this deal with the university where they paid me to stay on campus, paid for my food, paid for my living, and frankly, I didn't do that good of a job. In hindsight, I should have done a little bit better. I went traveling a lot, went to Korea, visited my family. I was in Vietnam, I was in Japan, went to Boston, went to New York, went back home. Took that 6 months off because I knew that the horrendous time of investment banking was coming. The summer before, I did a summer internship in investment banking, did a full-time offer, and came back. In June, I started in banking in the city of Chicago and worked in M&A banking. First 6 months was quite exciting, even though you were working a lot of hours. It was fun. M&A is fun by nature. You feel sexy doing it. I went on 5 business trips in the short 9 months that ensued, worked with people of all ages and ranges. They were super rich people, CEOs, owners of companies, private equity firms, MDs, VPs, whatnot. Hated it from the beginning. Didn't really like finance as a whole. Didn't like the fact that I had to do things that I needed to do. In short, I think banking really was not for me. 9 months later, in March of 2020, President Donald Trump announced the Asia ban or European ban. Long story short, Corona hit and everything shut down. The deals that I was working on went to zero. MD said, it's time to go home. Got an email that Friday morning saying everyone is now required to work from home. That Saturday, I bought a plane ticket. Sunday, I went back home to California. Very thankfully, very gratefully, as some of my peers were getting fired, I did not get fired. And we started working on debt-related deals and valuations that wasn't M&A. Made me hate my job even more. About a 4-month period ensued where I was home. And then I decided to go back to Chicago because I signed a new lease there. I thought, why not? And I had a feeling that COVID would eventually end and there would be a happier side to the other end of things. Went back to Chicago, started hating banking again, work from home, and started actively recruiting. Wanted to look into private equity and hedge funds and venture capital, the things that you typically do into banking. I even thought about going to a different bank. And none of those roads really ended up panning out. I went to a lot of final rounds, did a whole bunch of interviews, networked, but in short, none of those things really panned out, and I didn't get any of these typical exit jobs, and I kind of took that to be. And then in the December of 2020, a company reached out to me by the name of Cloud Kitchens. It was created by Uber, Travis Kalanick, after he left Uber or got kicked out of Uber. And he created this concept of a cloud kitchen or a ghost kitchen that allows you to basically rent out space if you're a restaurateur for like WeWork pricing and do delivery only kitchens. And these apps would work with these kitchens and you would go to these kitchens, pick up the food and deliver it. I work specifically under a branch called Future Foods, which sold virtual brands. And these are essentially restaurants like if you know Mr. Beast Burger. I don't work on Mr. Beast Burger, but brands that only exist virtually. And these companies manage these brands, and the operators are the ones that supply these foods or supply these restaurants aren't actually branded on their restaurateur. So for example, Panini Grill could be selling Brian's Pizza because they have the capacity to build pizza, but there's no such thing as Brian's Pizza if you Google map it. I'm sure many of you are aware by now if you're ordering delivery that oftentimes when you order delivery, it's not actually coming from the place that you think it's coming from. So I did that starting February of 2021, and I kind of liked it. It was very initiative driven. There was not much directions. It was startup-y by nature, even though it was pretty large scaled, and it was the perfect mix of having big tech resources, but startup culture. The people that hired me into that firm, 2 very brilliant guys that you can figure out if you look at my LinkedIn, left within a month or two. And I felt pretty lost because they were a big reason why I joined this company. They seemed super smart, also had a finance background, but had a tech know-how, tech knowledge, seemed super nice. But they left. And I kind of was like, yo, you left me to dry. Kept in touch with them because I felt like they were going to do something great. 4 months ensued, and near my birthday, they told me to come get Korean barbecue, which at the time I thought was just to hang out. And it was actually, in fact, the first time I saw them offline because we worked remotely. We only interacted virtually. It was the first time I saw them in person. One of them was super tall, one of them was super short. I asked them what they were up to. And they asked me, well, have you heard of NFTs? And my instinct initially was, you guys are working on a scam. I've heard of these things. I looked at Top Shot and all these Bored Ape Yacht Clubs, and I really don't understand why you would do this. And then they told me about this opportunity within the Solana ecosystem that was about to boom. And they asked me if I had any thoughts about running their Twitter account. They told me that Twitter was a very important piece of the NFT space. And they told me that they made this account yesterday, and organically they grew to 1,000 people, which shocked me because having done YouTube, that organic growth of 1,000, I wasn't entirely sure of the Twitter space, but seemed like a lot, especially for a space that I thought was a scam. And these guys being smart at all, in my opinion, weren't the most social media savvy people. They're not boomers, but they're definitely not the hip and cool people that I imagine to run these things. So that told me that there was a market there and some kind of demand for it. So I told them, why not? I was getting pretty bored of my Cloud Kitchens job, and thought that it would be a fun thing to do on the side, and running a social media account, why not? That conversation ensued, and eventually I think I made up the decision that this was something that I really wanted to do full time. And this market seemed to grow, and at the time Solana was at $40, but it became $80 the week after. Of course, now it's barely $15. But all in all, I made the assessment that it's something that I could have the risk profile to do at a young age. It seemed like a cool industry to get into. I wanted to be a pioneer within the space. Long story short, it seemed like the right jump. So in November of last year, so exactly almost a year ago, I made the jump. We received VC funding, and we, along with the three main co-founders, started this team of 6 to create this company called Soul Analysis, which became Hyperspace. It is now a Solana-based marketplace. The first 6 months, and perhaps even first 9 months, was quite rough. Although, I thought I was a pretty competent person, and there was operational things I could handle. I knew how to run Google Sheets, and I had some level of comp sci knowledge, so I understood some technical level knowledge. The culture and the thing that I was really brought in to do, which was growth, seemed hard because there was an immense cultural barrier to the Web3 or NFT space that I just didn't understand, and it required time. But 6 months in, I think things started clicking, and I remember I told one of the guys, I think I figured it out, and I think I'm going to be the best soon. And within a couple weeks of that, there's the kind of stupid, kind of lame, but NFT influencer chart ranking thing, and I was number 1 in influence rank and number 15 in global reach for some point. And I continued to try to maintain, if not grow, this influence, which, funny enough, matters in this space, whether we believe it to be legit or not. But I think in all, it taught me that if I put my mind to something, and if I study enough and I put enough time to it, I could figure things out. I don't think my path has been truly unique. I've seen a lot of people take the liberal arts and then banking route and then kind of take that to do whatever they want. Perhaps banking to NFTs is not that common. I have seen many cases of it, but it's also probably because those are the people that are around me. But I do think that I've taken a relatively risky approach to life, more risky than I thought I would ever have. And it has panned out for the better. And of course, things are always 2020 in hindsight. And I'm sure tomorrow, if NFTs disappear, I might say something different. But I am grateful for the path that I've taken. And I think the one word I would take is challenge. I continue to do something that is pretty challenging and not logical, not something that people that are opposed to odd challenges would take. The logical route would have been private equity, then MBA, back to private equity, and maybe even corp dev. Perhaps the road's being closed and me not getting these private equity jobs back then led me to these things. I am definitely making far less money than I probably could have if I followed that traditional path. But in essence, I am very, I don't know if pride's the right word, very happy to be where I'm now. I feel like I'm doing something that I'm good at, which gets me to do it more. I'm not sure exactly what career I'm building. I don't think saying NFT influencer would get me to be hired by big tech firms, for example, in the future. I'm sure I can always go back to banking, but it is interesting that we now live in this gig economy and there's a variety of new types of talent that is being stacked that could lead to future careers. Um, it's been an interesting time to reflect on my 4-year career. It seems crazy to me that I've now been out of college than longer than I have been in college for. Um, I hope that you also take a look back in your careers or look forward in your careers and realize that there is no perfect way to do it. I'm still figuring it out. And I hope to take more challenges and make more shifts before I run out of steam. Thank you guys for watching, especially those that have been following me for a while. You know what career paths I've taken. And I hope this was a encouraging video to let you know that any path isn't necessarily the wrong path. And I'll see you guys next time. Let's go.